When was the last time you played a Taito game? And what even is a Taito game? Well, Bobble, Space Invaders, Arkanoid, I'm sure you've played some of these. Taito was an arcade and early gaming master. They are still around, but admittedly are less known. However, that doesn't stop them from crossing over their franchises. This is every early Taito crossover. Another update to Let's start with a classic, Bobble. The Maita and Monsta enemies in the game actually debuted in another game, that being Chack and Pop. Data miners were also able to find evidence that the Zen-chan enemy was supposed to debut here as well, but sadly, that never happened. The Bobble Chack and Pop connect is even more solidified as Chackin's heart, as well as Chackin himself, appear as items. He also appears carved into round 43 of the arcade version, appears as the referee in Puzzle Bobble, and appears as a summon in Bubble Symphony. Rainbow Islands, Bubble Bobble's sequel/spiritual successor, has its fair share of references as well. World 5 of the game has Buddy and Bubby visiting the world of Arkanoid, and even fighting Do, the antagonist of Arkanoid. Oh yeah, Arkanoid has an antagonist. Who knew? The last 3 worlds of the game are based off the Fairyland story, Darius, and the original Bubble Bobble, with enemies from said games to boot. The Famicom version of the game has you fighting Sayo-chan from Kikikaikai. And finally, the robot boss from World 6 is based off Metal Soldier Isaac. And now we reach the motherlode, Bubble Symphony. In this game, you can find a handful of magic scrolls that summon characters from other Taito games to assist you. These include Ptolemy from the Fairyland story, the Silver Hawk from Darius 2, Mr. Mikata from Pu-Li Rula, Sayo-chan from Kikikaikai, Pepple from Quiz by Yu Yu, and the Gun from Space Invaders. I'm not kidding. Meanwhile, you can visit the worlds of Radish Land, Sun A-Zone, Kikikaikai, and the TV Machine, which houses a boss fight with the famous Space Invaders. To add to this, you can fight Manuk, Jacko Coulson, and the Yamato. Meanwhile, in the Puzzle Bobble series, also known as Bust-A-Move, Sonic Blast Man is playable in the 3rd installment, as well as Musashi from the Famicom game Musashi no Ken Tadaima Shugyochu. To add to this, there are special versions of Puzzle Bobble that feature the characters of Azumanga Daioh, of all things. I love that manga. As well as a version starring the characters from Psychic Force, another Taito game. Taito released another puzzle game crossing their IPs, entitled Pop and Pop, for the arcade and PlayStation 1. Here we can find characters and bosses from Bubble Bobble, New Zealand Story, Dawn Doko Dawn, Rainbow Islands, Kikikaikai, Chackin, and Liquid Kids once again. In Camel Tree, okay, we finally get to see some variety. How so? There's a hidden menu in the game that lets you select a different ball to use in-game, with some of these balls being from other games. You can use Checkin, a Space Invader, a dog from Plump Pop, and the decapitated head of Roy Adams from Operation Thunderbolt. Ugh, don't ask. Reaching the goal in levels under certain time frames gives you bonuses from various characters among franchises we already mentioned. But we can also see the main character from Chukka Tyson. Now then, before we wrap up, let's take down all the remaining ones that I know of in a lightning round. Ready? Go. Sayo-chan appears on a painting in the Ninja Kids. Patraco from Cleopatra Fortune appears as a hidden character in Puchikarat. In Mega Blast, some of the game's mini-bosses are based off other Taito characters, including Chackin, Bubblin, and Do from Arkanoid. Space Invaders, along with Galaxians, appear in an episode of Futurama. Space Invaders are also found in one level of Angry Birds Space. A Space Invader also appears on a painting in Wreck-It Ralph, as does an original Space Invaders cabinet, along with the main enemy from Kix. And to connect all of this to the web, Mario appears in the Game Boy version of Kix, impersonating a Mexican guitar player, and an Indian, a luchador, an Indian flute player, a Chinese plate balancer, and an English soldier. None of this would be okay to do today. So, there you have it, all the retro Taito crossovers. Did I miss any? Let me know down below and check out the rest of the crossover web right here. Or, here is an awesome video about the original Pac-Man, perhaps the only retro game more popular than Space Invaders. Until next time, never stop using that noggin.